Howdy Nova Nation, the Wildcats are headed to Texas to take on Tarleton State in the FCS Quarterfinals on Saturday. This is your preview video for that game. The number 12 seed Villanova will battle the number 4 seed Tarleton State in Texas on Saturday at noon. Villanova coming off a 14-7 win against Lehigh, a game that was scoreless at halftime, and Villanova the game-winning touchdown, a 28-yard pass from Pat McQuaid to Braden Reed, the freshman who had the catch of the year really for Villanova, now to send the Wildcats to the quarterfinals. That was McQuaid's 50th passing touchdown of his career. Almost 50% of McQuaid's passing touchdowns have come in this season for Villanova. So a lot to like for the Wildcats. Villanova now getting ready for another tough test against Tarleton State on Saturday. It will be the toughest game that Villanova has played so far in the playoffs. Tarleton State is 12-1 overall this season, 7-1 in conference play in the UAC conference. Pretty good conference, one of the best in the FCS. And the only loss this year for Tarleton State was at Abilene Christian, a pretty competitive team. It was a very close loss for this Tarleton State squad as well. So Tarleton State has played really well this season. They also had a win on the road at Army. That was the best win of the season in week 2. So Tarleton State 12 wins overall this season. They got to this game against Villanova after a win against North Dakota 31-13, as Tarleton State was in control pretty much throughout the entire game against North Dakota. Now getting ready to take on the Wildcats. In terms of some players to watch for Tarleton State, the quarterback is Victor Gabalis. He's thrown for almost 2,700 passing yards this year. He only has 5 interceptions, 28 passing touchdowns. He throws for more than 200 passing yards a game, so he's been really good. And he's had a nice career at Tarleton State. He was a transfer in the beginning of his career. The last couple of years, he's thrown for at least 2,400 passing yards. This year, he's having one of the best seasons of his career. And then in terms of the offense as a whole, they average 44 points per game. Like I said, the passing game is really good. Peyton Kramer is the top receiver for this Tarleton State offense. He has more than 900 receiving yards this year, but the rushing attack is really, really good for this Tarleton State team. And it's really interesting because Trey Page III, a freshman this year, he was the lead running back for really most of the season, especially in the first half. He had around, 700, 800 rushing yards this season. He was having a really nice season. But then, when you look at the whole for this rushing attack for Tarleton State, Page III, as a freshman, actually got injured kind of in late October. So he's been out for the last couple months. He's done for the season. But they have had some players step up. James Page is around 500 rushing yards. They also have Tylen Hines, who I know a lot of Tarleton State fans are really excited about. Hines was actually the starting running back at the beginning of the season, was injured very early on, missed a long time, and has come back over the last month when Page III was out and has been out for the rest of the season. So Hines has really picked up the pieces. He's already had 400 rushing yards in just 4 games played, so he's been a big part of this offense, and Tarleton State is very happy to have him back, and he's been a big reason why this offense has been so balanced, with the passing game of Gabalis and the rushing attack led by James Page. Now that Ty Page III is out, but also, of course, Tylen Hines, who's coming back. The rushing attack averages about 5 yards a carry. They do a really nice job of picking up rushing yards around more than 200 per game on average. So this offense is really balanced for Tarleton State, as I said, averaging around 44 points per game. Talking about the defense is also really good for the Texans. They only give up about 18 points per game. The strength of this defense is on third down. They only allow their opponents to convert about 29% on third downs. The one weakness for this team, and probably the biggest weakness, is the rushing defense for Tarleton State. They will allow their opponents to rush for about 4.5 yards per carry, and they've had some games this year, especially in the second half of the schedule, where the rushing defense has allowed the opponents of the Texans to rush for more than 200 yards, rush for around 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns a game. So I think that sets up really nicely in terms of the keys to the game for Villanova's rushing attack. I know the rushing attack for Villanova did struggle against Lehigh, of course, without David Abbott, but Jabril Mace, Isaiah Ragland, we know how good those 2 running backs have been for Villanova this season. And also, Lehigh's rushing defense on paper is much, much better than Tarleton State's rushing defense. So I think Villanova should have a better game on the ground this Saturday in Texas. But I think in terms of the keys to the game, it comes down to a few things. Villanova has to set the tone early, have to get off to a better start than they did against Lehigh. I think if you are unable to score in the first half, unable to score in the first quarter, Tarleton State's really going to take advantage of that, especially being at home and the high-powered offense that the Texans do have. But I also want to talk about the turnover battle, right? Villanova has been the best team in the FCS this season at limiting turnovers. Pat McQuaid has only thrown for 2 interceptions this year as a team. They've really done a nice job at ball security. I know Coach Ferrante preaches about that. But Villanova forced 2 fumbles against Lehigh, and also a really good team at limiting turnovers heading into the game on Saturday. So Villanova did a nice job at forcing turnovers against the Mountain Hawks. If they didn't, Villanova probably would have lost that game to Lehigh. And the reason why I bring that up is because this Tarleton State team is really, really good at forcing turnovers. They have a plus 30 turnover margin this season. No, I'm not mistaken. Plus 30 turnover margin margin to do a great job at forcing fumbles, recovering fumbles, creating interceptions, creating turnovers. So Villanova wants to win. It's going to be a really fun battle to watch. This really good Villanova team at limiting turnovers taking on a Tarleton State team that really does a great job at forcing turnovers. One of the best teams in FCS history at forcing turnovers is this Texans team. So I think it's really going to come down to, probably a close game if Villanova wants a chance to win. Run the football, chew some clock, take advantage of this Tarleton State rushing defense. It seems to lack a little bit, at least on paper, and maybe that will set up for some big throws like Pat McQuaid had in the second half against Lehigh on Saturday. This Saturday's game in the FCS quarterfinals will start at noon Eastern time. We'll still have some updates regarding any WXVU coverage coming up over the next couple days, but I will be in Texas covering the game, Villanova versus Tarleton State. Hope you can follow along on the social media content throughout the next couple days. Thanks for tuning in, Nova Nation. Have a great rest of your day. Reporting from Villanova Stadium, again, the winner of this game between Villanova and Tarleton State will take on the winner of UC Davis and Illinois State. Villanova looking to get to the semifinals if they beat Tarleton State for the first time since 2010. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cats!